8 billion of us. It's a crowded planet. Not just crowded, but profoundly interconnected. One of the realities of all human history, and I mean not just the history of the period of civilization of the last 12,000 years, but the whole history of humanity, is our interconnectedness as individuals, of course, within our communities, but as communities are interconnected across large distances, indeed across the globe. We've always been a global species, as we'll see, from the earliest times that humanity spread out from Africa in the Great Migration and settled across the world. There has been long-distance migration of people and long-distance interconnection of communities in different parts of the world. Well, today, in the 21st century, we are more interconnected than ever. This is obvious because we're living in the digital age. We're living in an age when the bits that carry images and social media and live streaming and news alerts connect people instantaneously around the world. We're living in an age where trillions of dollars are transacted daily in global interactions, in payments for international trade in goods and services. We're living in an age where millions of people are on the move at any moment and are engaged in international travel, whether in business or in flight from conflict as refugees, as migrants, or, of course, as my favorite activity, tourism, going to see different parts of the world. So this interconnectedness is a deep feature of our human history. It is a deep feature of how our economies function. We use the term autarky to mean the idea that you live by yourself. It's the Greek word meaning self-governance, but no place is autarkic. Even the most isolated nations in the world have lots of interactions, in fact, with the rest of the world. So autarky is an idea, but the reality is our interconnectedness. And we will be examining the interconnectedness of humanity across every age of globalization. We'll see that from the earliest times, there was long-distance trade. Of course, long-distance movement of people, long-distance exchange of ideas. So what is transmitted internationally are goods, material products, commodities, technologies, cultural ideas, religion, money and finance, machinery of all kinds, and of course, us ourselves, people in our own movements, in our daily lives, in our commutes, in our tourism, in our migration as people move themselves and their families from place to place. And we fear that in an era of increasing environmental crisis, there might well have to be a lot more movement of people in desperation to escape from places that become uninhabitable because of the ongoing environmental crisis. We can look at maps and representations of this interconnectedness. We can look at maps that show how tourists move from one part of the world to another, seeing the tremendous network of movements involving now billions of people that have the benefits of being able to see firsthand and experience other societies, other cultures, other ecosystems. And I certainly hope that that will be your opportunity wherever you are, because it's profoundly enriching to have the chance to see how other societies and other people live. And what I have come to understand is understanding firsthand how other people live is also a powerful way to make peace with other people as well, and to gain mutual respect and mutual admiration for the diversity of cultures. We will also come to understand how critical commodities in the world move across international boundaries, and therefore how the physical geography of the world, where different resources are located, shape the places where people live, how economies function, and who has power in the world, because military might depends also on access to critical resources. One of those most crucial resources, especially in the last 2 centuries, has been access to the so-called fossil fuels, meaning coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Because these 3 sources of primary energy have been critical to how economies function and how armies function. And so political power, economic prosperity, military might are shaped by the flow of energy resources, and especially in the last 2 centuries, the flow of the fossil fuel resources, coal, petroleum, and natural gas. We can look at a map seeing how the petroleum, for example, flows from the oil-rich regions of the world, especially from the Arabian Peninsula, which is a center of hydrocarbon production, meaning oil and gas production, also from Russia, from North America, from other regions that have a tremendous stock geologically of natural gas and petroleum, to other parts of the world that are dependent on those resources through imports. So this is another critical kind of interconnectedness. In the 21st century, it'll be less and less of the coal, oil, and gas, and more of the electrons generated by solar power and by wind energy that will be transmitted along long-distance transmission lines that will be the new form of interconnectedness of energy in the world. Of course, food is another crucial commodity that has long been in international trade. Foodstuffs are produced in diverse ways because of the diversity of climates, soils, indigenous or endemic species in different regions, and the world trades in foodstuffs. I live in New York City. When I have my morning coffee, it does not come from coffee trees in Central Park in Manhattan near where I live. That coffee may come from Brazil or from Vietnam or from Ethiopia or Uganda or Indonesia or Guatemala or Colombia or other of the 40 or so countries in the world that grow coffee, but it will be from tropical and subtropical climates, not from the climate of New York City. And similarly, places that are very dry, desert regions, are typically places where it's very hard to grow staple crops. And so the trade in food from water-rich places such as Brazil to water-scarce places such as the Middle East, the Arabian Peninsula, is another kind of interconnectedness on our planet. And we can look at the shipments of food, the trade in foodstuffs around the world, and begin to understand another dimension of that interconnectedness. Because we are so interdependent through trade, because we are so much in need of trade because of the diversity of our climates around the world, our resource availability, minerals or hydrocarbons or energy resources in one place versus another, we depend on international trade for our prosperity and our basic survival. And trade, therefore, has been part of human history for as long as there is human history. We've had long-distance trade in critical commodities for thousands and thousands of years. This also means that war and conflict, which divide countries and which often break trade links, can have devastating consequences on human well-being, leading to famines or starvation, even when trade links in food or other critical commodities are broken by war. All of that means that our interdependence is a source of our prosperity and our well-being, and also that war and conflict is therefore not only a threat in and of itself to conflict zones, but is an ever-present danger for humanity as a whole, because conflict threatens to break apart the ability for us to achieve our prosperity through interdependence in the flow of goods and services and ideas and technologies. So we'll be looking at this interdependence in each age of globalization. We will see how we have become in some ways more and more interdependent as communications and transport have intensified the interactions of people in all parts of the world. That interdependence is a source of prosperity. It is also a reason for us always to be searching for cooperative approaches on the planet so that we can ensure that that interdependence is sustained.